We are just doing a quick plan. This is a quick episode. I've got my lunch on the way, so fair warning. There won't be too much going on here. We're sort of overviewing what we've got so far and where we're going with it. So as we zoom out, you can see I've got no icons on, so I'll just turn those on. Make it easier to tell what's what. So where are we? We last episode did this stuff over here. I actually thought this was the last oil thing to do, but I was forgetting the central stuff over here. We've also got an oil refinery over here and 2 oil wells. And what I'm thinking is maybe to connect these up to here, either to do that or to have another smaller hub down here, because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 if we connect this one up as well. 6 different connections down here. And then if we factor in the 3 lines that it will take to connect between the oil hub down here and the oil hub up here, then we have about 9 lines that we'd need. So I can comfortably do that with one of these stations. And what's quite nice is actually, because it's the bigger one, it's got the bigger buildings as well, which is cool. And I was thinking maybe if we popped it here, then we can connect up with this bridge, make more use out of it, and have a line coming out this way, which will be for the oil wells here, and also to connect up with the oil refinery, oil hub down here. So we'll expand this one out, because at the moment there's only 1 spare line. So we'll put another line in, a couple of lines in, and expand that out. What else? I was thinking actually, because it turns out that this crude oil line to the other hub up here is extremely busy, and I mean extremely busy. We've got 700 odd excess, like we've got a lot of crude oil waiting to go there. What might be better is if we had, especially if I'm going to create a smaller hub over here, a circular line, and that would go between this, the old hub, the new hub, and the soon-to-be hub. So we'd have 2 lines for each of the resources, so crude oil, oil, and fuel. And each of those would be going clockwise and counterclockwise, so 6 lines in total. But that would allow us to then have lines which should hopefully connect up a little bit better. The problem with that is I think the best one to use would be this one over here, and unfortunately I don't really think that's going to work as it currently stands. Now, we could do some rejigging. We could make this a lot bigger. We could replace these lines into into 2 tracks. So effectively, instead of them having 4 stations or 4 cargo terminals to drop off at, compress those down and then use, because we've already got quite a nice little connection down here, we can effectively make this a little bit nicer and hopefully use some double slip switches, and then anything coming this way down can come off here and go down to the the combination place, and then that would also free up some space on here. But I don't know whether that's really going to work, especially with the way that we've set these up so far. I don't really think that it's going to benefit us as it currently stands, which is a bit of a shame, really, because it's quite a cool little concept to have. These hubs, these distribution hubs that are then connected up with a circular line that goes backwards and forwards between them. I think that's a really unique prospect, but it does mean that if you have a lot more hubs, which is something that I want to get onto in a minute, you'll then have, say there's 5 hubs on the line, and it's a circular route. So if you imagine a circle going 1, soon to be 2, 3, and then maybe 4 and 5 for argument's sake. Anything that wants to go from 3 to number 2 would need to go through whatever number this one was, 3. I might have mixed those up. So anything from number 4 that wants to go to number 2, would have to go through number 2. No, number 3. God, all these numbers and not having the hubs even here makes it very confusing. So what I'm thinking is, we've also got a chemical plant here. If we connect up these final oil plants and what have you, I'm in 2 minds now whether I do use a secondary little hub down here to connect all those up, or whether I just actually connect them up with what we've got here. So what we could potentially do is go underneath, set up some more tracks here. I know that we've got 2 here that are free in the middle. These other 2 go off to where they need to go. We've also got another 2 here. So potentially this could be for the other 2 crude oils. Although, hold on, we've got a number of crude oils just connecting up here, don't we? That's right. Well, anyway, it's still up in the air what we're going to do. I think going forward, what I'd like to do is set up all these oil and fuel and plastic plants, so that we can then possibly connect those up to these oil hubs. So plastic can only really be consumed by the goods factory, which we've already set a few up, but going forward I'd like to set up more, and that means that for the goods factory we'll need steel as well. So this is my new approach on these distribution hubs, is that we will have localized hubs and the circular route that I spoke about earlier, connecting them all up. So the way that would work is that we would have a train station, or cargo train station, that would then pick up all the different resources. So down here we've got quite a lot of ore, coal, and also we've got a couple of steel mills. So we could probably set up a few different lines. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we've even got a few over here. But yeah, if we had, say, a cargo train station here, that was around 10. Although if we're smart about it and we set them up with these cargo hubs, Let me just double check something. Yes, we are still broadcasting. I've been scorned by that before, and it's really made me a little bit paranoid now that I'm not broadcasting or whatever. But we are. So what we can do is have maybe a couple of these, and then connecting up with the rest of the network, it would be using a circular line, and then you'd have a few of these little hubs rather than having one big hub like I've done with the oil, because I think I've learned really with the oil it's good, but in some ways it's bad. It's good in that it brings everything to one centralized position. It means that you can effectively pool all of your resources for that one cargo type, which makes it really handy for actually delivering everything that's needed to where it needs to go. Before, I've often used just maybe one or two factories to satisfy maybe a few different cities. But if you have this hub and then you connect out to the different cities that need the fuel or whatever, or to another hub and what have you, it means that effectively, well, I'll demonstrate it here. This one oil well, instead of going to one oil refinery, it goes to this oil refinery. Oil goes over to this oil refinery. It goes all up and down the map. And that means that while, yes, you can effectively work it out. So with oil refineries, it's 2-to-1 ratio. So if you think, okay, you've got a maximum, this is actually up the second level, so it's quite accurate. You've got a maximum of 400 total capacity out of the oil refinery. So you'll need 800 crude oil to satisfy that. Now, if you think, okay, oil refineries have 400 total production rate out, presuming you can do a good enough transport line between the two, you can set it up so you have two of the crude oil wells connected up to one of the oil refineries, and then if we check the fuel, yeah, I'm correct in thinking it's so it's a 1-to-1 ratio, and you have 400 fuel. So you could have a little connection going backwards and forwards, doing these, but that won't necessarily work in the case of if you have multiple cities that grow and then they need more and more fuel, because you'll have it all set up to go to this one, and the final product needs to be distributed out to a few different cities. We're actually distributing out to all of the cities that are needed. Glossop, for some reason, only does 52%, but that's probably something to do with the lines between the two hubs more than anything. So pooling everything in one area or in a network of these distribution hubs, which I'm planning to do more going forward, it means that all of your resources can get to where they need to go. And hopefully setting it up. Oh, sorry. Right, sorry about that. My lunch came a lot quicker than I was expecting, which is nice. So I think what we're going to do going forward is um, I think I'm just going to connect these up to the two hubs that we've got for oil, and then excuse me, we will probably connect up the plastic to the two hubs, or do something slightly differently. Maybe have a separate plastic hub um, for the goods. I've not really decided yet, and then move on to doing steel, because we currently have, one goods factory, maybe a few others elsewhere set up. But if we set up this circular network of distribution hubs so that the goods can, the steel can get to the goods factories, it's also worth noting that the steel can be consumed by other ones, like the machine factory. Is there any other ones? No, it's just goods and machines. So going forward, it's a case of we've got to connect these things all up to the network. So having smaller hubs that are more local, and then having a distribution circular line between the hubs, I think will work quite well. It's a case of this has worked really well. It's been quite difficult to get up and running correctly, and there's probably better ways that I can do it, but I'm quite happy with the results so far, and these are sort of the plans for going forward, what we do next and how we go about things. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to come back in a short while after my lunch, and we're going to probably finish off the oil network that's going on, and see how that goes. So thank you for watching. Remember to maybe subscribe if you've enjoyed this or are enjoying the series. We'll be checking out the sorting out all the oil next time. But yeah, thanks for watching, and until next time, have a good one.